Hi, I'm Jim Gray. I'm a professional real estate agent and a professional real estate agent coach. And over the last 14 months, I've spoken to over 500 real estate agents, chatting with each and every one of them about strategic options to grow their business. And what has come up a lot, especially in the last 6 months, is whether or not a digital brokerage is the right strategic move for an agent. And what I have been doing is doing deep dives on the three major digital brokerages in the country: Real Broker, EXP, and Fathom Realty. And what I want to do in this video is kind of bring the other three together. Hopefully you've seen them. If not, I'm sure they're nearby on this page somewhere. I want to compare these three brokerages against the 5 major criteria when choosing a brokerage. And I've got them right here on the screen. First is the comp plan, obviously very important. Second is the business tools. What do you get? What do they do? What do they cost? Training, how much of it is there? Who is it designed for? And how do you access it? Agent support, this is big. If I'm an agent and I need something and it's a digital brokerage, how do I get it? And then finally, information about the company generally, which really translates into what level of brand awareness, if any, exists for the company in the country. Okay? So, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to objectively score each one based on the features and benefits of each of these 5 categories. Now, full disclosure, I am at EXP. And I chose EXP for a variety of reasons, but you must know that I'm a bit of a brokerage agnostic. I'm looking for the best opportunity for me personally and the agents that I have the privilege of coaching. Okay? Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about comp plan. Now, we're probably going to spend the most time right here, but I'm going to give you the treetop here. When you're looking at Real Broker, okay, you've got an 80-15 split. You've got a $12,000 cap. You have a post-transaction fee. So once you cap, there's a post-transaction fee of $225 per transaction. That post-cap fee will cap itself at $6,000. And there's a $500 flat annual fee that you pay every year. Okay? So that's Real. EXP has an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. There are 2 transaction fees, a $25 broker review fee and a $40 risk management fee. That risk management fee will cap at $500. Once you cap on your split, a post-cap transaction fee shows up of $250. And then there is, and that fee will cap at $5,000. Once that fee caps at $5,000, a random space here, the fee goes from $250 to $75. And then finally, Fathom Realty. Fathom digital brokerage is a 100% split model. So you keep the whole commission. You just pay a $450 per transaction fee. You cap at 12 transactions. So once you hit your 13th transaction, your transaction fee goes from $450 to $99. And you have an annual flat fee of $500. Now, here's the question. Which of these is the best? Well, that depends. What do you get, and does that serve you as an agent for the business that you're conducting now and for the business that you envision in the short term, medium term, and longer term time horizon? It's a big question. Here's the other thing with splits and fees. The split really doesn't matter. 80-20, 85-15, or even 100%. What really matters is looking at all of the fees collectively in a scenario. Okay, so that's what I want to do now. Now stick with me. I know there's a lot of numbers here, but at its core, and the reason I'm starting with the comp plan is if the brokerage doesn't make sense at the comp plan level, then it really just doesn't make sense at all. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring over my spreadsheet here. Life is a spreadsheet, isn't it? Life really is a math problem. All right, so just look at this box here at the top, okay? So I'm going to run a scenario with you, and I'm going to put the fees of each brokerage side by side. At the end of the day, what is most important is how much money you get to keep after you pay your broker and your fees. Would you agree? Okay. So let's assume that you do 24 units in a year. That would be 2 closes per month. Let's assume that each house that you sell on average has a sale price of around $250. Let's assume that your average commission per sale is 3%. So you'd have a gross commission of $7,500. Okay, so 24 units times a gross of $7,500 is $180,000. All right, so you went out, you sold 24 houses, and that business that you run, you're an independent contractor, you run a business, that business produced $180,000 in sales. All right, so now let's look at Real Brokerage. Okay, so here at Real, it's an 85-15 split. You would have capped, right? So you contributed $12,000 on the split. You would have paid your $500 flat fee to the brokerage. At Real, the CRM, which is a main technology, is not included. That costs $35 a month. I've added it here because let's assume that you need a CRM. I don't know how you can do business in real estate right now without a decent CRM. All right, so you paid $420 there, and then finally you have a post-cap transaction fee of $225. Okay, with a cap of $6,000. So you paid $3,000 there. So when you add up all of the fees for Real, you grossed $180, you paid Real $16,000, and you netted approximately $164,000. Okay, so you grossed $180, you netted $164 on 24 transactions. Okay, just stick with me. Now you're at EXP. Let's look at EXP. EXP is an 80-20 split model with a $16,000 cap. Okay, so EXP is taking 5% extra, and the cap is $4,000 higher. Okay, in this scenario, you've capped at $16,000. You've got your 2 transaction fees, your $25 broker review fee, your $40 risk management fee. Here you capped out the risk management fee at $500. At EXP, you have a flat monthly fee of $85. Okay, you pay that. That covers all the tech and the training. So you would have paid $1,000 for that. And because you capped, you had post-transaction fee costs of $3,300. Okay, so you grossed $180, you paid EXP $21,000, and you netted $158,000 and change. Okay, so if you were at Real, you would have made $164. At EXP, if you were at EXP, you would have made $158. If you notice, they're not that different, right? But you're definitely netting more at Real. Okay, so now let's go to Fathom. If you close 24 transactions at a gross of $180,000 gross commission income, at Fathom, you keep all of that commission. You just pay $450 per transaction for 12 transactions, so you capped at $5,400. You had additional post-cap transactions that you paid that fee on, so an additional $1,200, and you have an annual fee of $500. Okay, so at Fathom, you grossed $180. Your Fathom fees total were about $7,000, and you netted, call it $173. Okay, so $180 net $173. Now here's a couple other things to add in. Okay, at Real, you get a rev share program. So Real is going to pay you a residual income every time you invite another agent that comes to Real and produces. Okay, at Real, every time you hit certain performance benchmarks, they're going to give you stock in the company. So at Real, it's not just about the commission income, which is decent, but you also get the opportunity to earn passive residual income when you recruit agents, and you can earn equity stock awards in the company based on certain performance benchmarks. At EXP, it's the same thing. At EXP, you can also earn revenue share on agents that you invite to the company when they produce, and that is passive residual. Plus, you can earn stock awards in the company when you hit certain benchmarks. So at EXP and at Real, your comp plan is a three-legged stool. Buy and sell commissions, rev share off the performance of other agents that you invite, and stock awards to the company. At Fathom, okay, you keep your commission, you pay your fees, and there is no rev share program. Okay, so if you invite agents to the program, you do not get a piece of their rev share. However, Fathom does have a stock award program that will give you stock awards based on your recruiting efforts to agents to bring them over to Fathom. So at Fathom, essentially, it's a two-legged stool. Can you have a two-legged stool? I guess you can. So they're really, because it's only fee-based, there's no leftover revenue to share back with the agents. Okay? So again, this is where I stop here and I say, which is important to you? If you were at a company, say, for 10 years, and you're doing 24 transactions a year, you're in contact with lots of agents, it would seem like you'd have a lot of opportunity to interact with agents who might join the company based on your introduction. And if they did, at Real and EXP, you would be rewarded for that through rev share and stock. If you were at Fathom, you would just be rewarded through stock and there'd be no rev share. So the question is, which do you think fits you better? Now I want to look at these side by side. So I want you to look at this little table here, okay? So again, on 24 units, here's what I want you to think about. At Real Broker, when we take all the fees, you're keeping about 91%. You're keeping 91 cents of every dollar at 24 units. At EXP, you're keeping 88 cents of every dollar. And at Fathom, you're keeping about 96 cents of every dollar. The thing I want you to observe here is they're actually fairly close together. Now, what I want you to observe is if we take 24 to 36, so let's say you do 36 deals, that's 3 deals a month. Watch how these numbers change. They get closer together, and that's the power of the capping. So if you did 36 units on that would produce $270,000 in gross revenue. At Real Broker, you'd net out around $250, right? Or 93%. You'd net out at EXP around $246 or 91%. You'd net out at Fathom about $260 or 97%. Okay? The reason I want you to look at these side by side is sometimes when you hear, 80-20, you're like, wow, is 80-20, that's expensive compared to 100%. The answer is yes, but that's not the only thing to consider. Or is, 85-15, or you see what I'm saying? Now here's the other thing, right? Remember, as far as rev share goes, Real has it, EXP has it, Fathom does not. Stock awards, all three have it. Here's where you'll see the companies separate a little bit. If you do 10 transactions, okay, watch the numbers again, boom. So if you think you're not going to do a lot of transactions, you're always going to keep more money at Fathom. The fees are always going to feel lower. At EXP, look at that. You're going to be about 78%. Keeping 78 cents of every dollar. At Real Broker, right, you're going to be at about 84%. If you notice, the difference between Real and EXP here really is like 4%. So it's not a lot. Where you see one company separate themselves is Fathom, right, at 93% on 10 units. And again, maybe you like that, you don't care about rev share, and you find stock interesting. Now again, watch these numbers. Just to make a point, let's go back to 36. If you think you're going to be if you think you're going to grow your production and you feel like maybe in a 24 to 36 month period you can get to 36 units, then I want you to look at something. Watch how these numbers change based on the cap. Suddenly, say between the top, which is Fathom, and the bottom, which is EXP, there's only a 6-point difference, right? There's only a 6-point difference. So it's not a lot. And with EXP or say Real, and again, look at Real. Real, there's only a 4-point difference. And with EXP and Real, you get stock and rev share. At Fathom, you get stock, no rev share. So this is where you just have to kind of think a little bit. As an agent, as I envision my business, what do I think serves me the best now, in the medium term, but in the longer term too? Okay, so I'm going to, based on that, I'm gonna. Oh, I've run my scenario. Uh, I'm gonna let. I believe Fathom has won that round, right? I mean, low fees, easy to calculate. Even though there's no rev share, you still get stock. Although both Real and EXP, right, are not that far behind. If you get into higher levels of production. Okay, let's talk about business tools. This is critical, right? Folks, it's 2021, right? At the time this video is made, you have to have a tech stack that operates, right, and makes sense based on today. And conceptually, what you'd like to do is just kind of show up and have it set up and ready to go for you. Reinventing the wheel on the tech side and the tool side in real estate, it's expensive, right? I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is if you don't have to do it, that's probably preferable. All right, so let's look at the main tools that you're going to get with Real. Real basically has three main tech tools. They have a phone app that's proprietary. They have Chime CRM, so they have a relationship with Chime, and they have SkySlope. So the phone app gives you insight into the analytics of your business, and it is the main contact method that you're going to use to interact with the various departments of Real. Okay, yeah. Real does not have its own proprietary CRM technology. They have a partnership with Chime. Chime is an excellent CRM provider. If you were to get Chime on your own, the CRM, you're going to pay somewhere between $200 and $300 a month. At Real, it's not free, but it only costs you $35 a month, so the cost is worth it. Also included is SkySlope. SkySlope is an exceptionally well-known and exceptional technology for managing each transaction that you have. So it's not a bad set of suite of tools. All right, at EXP, your tools include KV Core. So KV Core, also a very robust CRM, well known in the industry. You don't have to be at EXP to get it, but if you got it on your own, it's going to cost you about $300 a month. At EXP, it's included in that $85 monthly fee. You're going to get SkySlope. SkySlope, again, widely recognized, very good transactional management platform. You're going to get the EXP Enterprise Dashboard. The Enterprise Dashboard is a website that is specific and unique to every single agent, and you go in there, and that's how you can access, or that's a way that you can access all the main tools in your EXP reporting package. Here's the other thing that you get in EXP. You get EXP World. EXP World, quite literally, is the digital campus of EXP. So even though we're talking about digital brokerages, no physical space, EXP has literally a digital space. So you can enter the digital space and you can literally walk to the accounting office, you can walk to the broker's office, you can walk to agent services, right? You can walk to tech support. So it is the digital version of a physical office. It's very cool. Fathom has basically two main pieces of technology. They also have KV Core, and it should be mentioned that KV Core is very robust. It's really easy for the single agent to use, and it has a lot of just clickable lead generation options. So it's easy to generate leads. It's easy to generate leads with KV Core, and quick. And their transactional management platform is IntelliAgent. IntelliAgent is a lesser known transactional management platform. So when I look at all of these tools together, I'm going to give this one, I think, to EXP. All right, let's talk about training. It probably can't be overstated, the importance of training, especially if you're new, but even if you're not new, I have found as a professional coach that being a lifelong learner is critical to ongoing success. Okay, so let's talk about Real. Real has about 15 to 20 hours of live training a week that they do in the form of webinars and Zoom calls. And these trainings are run by various directors around the country. They record these trainings and then make them available. Something that should be mentioned is there is no new agent mentor / training program at Real. So if you are a new agent and you feel like you want a little bit of hand holding, you are not going to get that at Real. If you are experienced with a transaction, right, so you know your way around a transaction, this training is likely going to work for you. But if you're new, you just have to know that you're going to have to get training outside of the company, to kind of fill in the blanks for you. All right, so that's training at Real. At EXP, you have 80 hours a week of training. What's interesting about EXP, right, is not only do you get 80 hours a week of training, but the training is in regular rotation. So you can attend the class live. If you're not available when the class is being offered, it comes back around again, typically within 10 days. Plus, most of the classes are recorded, so you can go get a live replay and consume it at your leisure. And you can do it two ways. You can go into the world and physically sit in the training, or you can just get the replay. Here's something else. At EXP, you can go to a link, and I give it in one of the other videos, and you can see the training calendar. There's what I've learned about brokers is brokers who give great training typically are really proud of that training, so they publish it. They make it available so you can see what the classes are, when they're held, and who's teaching them. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of interesting. EXP, anybody can go to the training link and see today what's being offered. EXP also has EXP Mentor University. So if you are a new agent, you will be assigned an agent who physically works in your market and is assigned for the first 3 transactions to help you learn your way around a transaction. Plus, you're enrolled in Mentor University. It's a 10-track learning course on the fundamentals of being a real estate agent. Plus, every single week by state, there's a state level meeting where the brokers and managers of each state in the union give trainings. So you get 80 hours a week of live. You can hit the replays. You can get a mentor. You can go to Mentor University, and then you can attend the weekly broker meetings where additional training happens. And then at EXP, there are quarterly live seminars that you can go to around the country. Those are firing back up now that the lockdown's kind of done. All right, let's talk about Fathom. Fathom, their main training platform, it looks like it's a third-party relationship with David Knox. David Knox's program is very robust. There are literally hundreds of videos covering all aspects of business building for real estate. So this is not proprietary training to Fathom, but it looks like it's a very effective partnership with David Knox. So all Fathom agents, they get access to that training platform. There are monthly and weekly live training events as available, and apparently there is some in-person local training, and at Fathom, they have a very pointed mentor program for new agents. So if you are a new agent, there is a program specifically for you at Fathom and at EXP, but not at Real. If you are an experienced agent, then generally you're going to have about 15 to 20 hours a week to choose from. If you're at Fathom, you're going to have 80 plus hours to choose from if you are at EXP. And at Fathom, they gave no hourly amount, but my sense was certainly there's hundreds of hours in the recorded library, and then there is a number of hours each week of live. So, and of the 3 companies, only one company publishes in a public website their training calendar, which is EXP. So, based on that, I'm gonna give this one, I think, to EXP. All right, let's talk about agent support. So in the digital environment, right, there is no physical office to go to, right? You can't drive to the office and just camp out at the receptionist desk if you've got a real estate emergency. You've now got to switch your mindset, right? And you've got to make it happen digitally. So how do you interact effectively with a digital brokerage? What technologies, what solutions do they make available? So at Real, basically there's three ways. There is their proprietary phone app, and most agents use this. So you can carry that phone obviously everywhere you go, and you can remain in fairly close contact with all of the main departments of Real. And they have an email ticketing system. If you have a problem, you can send an email. And they also use Workplace. Workplace is a Facebook product. This is where agents gather in groups. So you can post in Workplace. If you're looking for something, agents and brokers will respond. You can form groups with other agents and interact with other agents and kind of mastermind, right? So those are the three ways. But it sounds like the main way that agents, if they have challenges, they're either communicating through the app or they're directly messaging or speaking to the managing director broker in their area. At EXP, you have essentially four main ways to interact with EXP. The first, again, is EXP World. So at EXP World, you can go right to your broker's office. Usually there's a receptionist that you can talk to. All of the brokers keep hours. If you have a question about your commission check, you can walk right to the accounting office and never leave your desk. It's the beauty of the digital world. You take a number and you can sit with an accounting specialist who brings up your information and typically can solve your problem right while you're sitting there. If you have challenges with marketing, you can go to agent services. If you have challenges with your technology, you can go to tech support. All of these departments have offices that you can walk to in the digital world. You take a number and they'll take care of you when they call your number. I can tell you from personal experience, I've rarely waited much more than 6 or 7 minutes to speak to somebody. But remember, you can also hop right into Workplace. So Real uses Workplace, so does EXP. Inside of Workplace, you can post questions, agents and brokers will answer. You can join groups based on interest and geography, right? And mastermind with agents. And typically, it's a great place to get stuff that you're looking for. And then obviously all of the brokers at EXP, typically you can direct message them, you can text them, and certainly you can speak to them voice to voice. And then finally with Fathom, it seems a little less robust than say Real or EXP, right? So, you can call your broker, you can send them an email, or I should say direct message. You can message them, you can email them, or you can call them. So those are essentially your contact methods. So again, based on the presence of EXP World, just because not only do you have the messaging, right, the messaging component and email and voice, but you get the digital ability to walk into the digital offices, and you've got staff that have office hours just like in a regular broker. So I'm gonna call it actually a tie between EXP, because EXP has EXP World and Real has the phone app. So I would say that those are real proprietary game changer type technologies that really help an agent in a digital brokerage feel connected and supported. All right, and let's finally talk a little bit about the company. All right, so here's the thing. You're out there trying to win business. The brokerage that you're with, matters. So the question is, when you're looking at these brokerages, what identity, what brand awareness, if any, exists in the marketplace? So if you look at Real, okay, right now they have 2,000 agents. They're in the U.S. only. They're in 30 states. They are publicly traded on the OTC, and they have no real trends ranking. So Real Trends is that industry magazine. I'm sure you're familiar with it, where brokerages get ranked. So you get an idea of, the size of brokerages and how they compare one to the other. Right now, Real does not appear on any of those rankings. Now, this is because they've not submitted themselves for rankings yet. Okay, so it's hard to get a sense of where Real is compared to, say, EXP or Fathom. When you look at EXP, EXP has 50,000 agents in 13 countries. It's traded on the NASDAQ, and it's consistently in the top 5 of the largest national brokerages. It is commonly number 1. And then finally, Fathom. Fathom also has 2,000 agents in 25 states. It's in the US only. It is also traded on the NASDAQ like EXP, and it's ranked 22nd by Real Trends on the list of the largest national brokerages. So this is interesting, okay? So something I want you to think about, and this kind of has to do with agent support. If you're in a brokerage like Fathom, well, let's look at it this way. Let's look at EXP. At EXP, right, 50,000 divided by 50 states. We've got about 1,000 agents ish per state, and obviously in bigger states like California, Texas, Florida, there's many more agents than that. But what you'll find is just the sheer number of agents, the likelihood that there are going to be agents in your area is far higher. Whereas when you've got 2,000 agents, the likelihood that there'll be physical agents in your area is going to be lower. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you've got to rely more on all of the digital connectivity solutions that the companies provide, so you can kind of get that sense of community. The other thing is, when you go for your appointments with buyers and sellers, the question is, do you think, what's the likelihood that they've heard of the brokerage? Now again, there are two schools of thought on this. The brokerage doesn't matter so much, and the brokerage does matter. I'm going to say it's a little bit in the middle. Obviously with EXP, the likelihood that someone's heard of the brokerage is higher. Now here's what's interesting though. Even though Fathom has a small agent count, they are 22nd on the nation's largest brokerages as recently ranked by Real Trends. So here's what we know about Fathom. They are coming up, and they have an attractive comp model, so agents like it. So if we were just trying to award points just based on the company, I guess I'm going to call this a tie again. Even though EXP is bigger and has more brand identity and has a significantly higher ranking than Fathom, Fathom is moving up fast. So they're clearly doing something right that attracts agents. So the likelihood that we're going to see more and more Fathom for sale signs in markets, I think, is high. Okay, so now listen, this ranking system is slightly subjective, and I would say that any of these brokerages can work for you. It just depends on what you think is important to you. In my opinion, these 5 elements are the most important things to make sure that you think through before picking, a digital brokerage or any brokerage. Okay, so I'm Jim Gray. I hope you found that helpful. It was great chatting with you.